What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 38 of Two Guys, One Court. Once again, my name is Zach Goldstein,
And my name is Braylon.
and today we have a lot to discuss about. We're going to kind of hone our focus on a couple teams who are leading the kind of Eastern Conference, and kind of look at the superstars and some of the leading teams right now, about 10-ish games in the Western Conference as well. But before we get into the episode, just make sure to subscribe to everything, and just follow us on Two Guys One Court and all social medias. So do you want to start us off with the leader of the kind of Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavs?
I will. The Cleveland Cavaliers right now are 11-0, surprisingly. I think the longest streak in franchise history.
Yeah.
Which just started leading LeBron recently.
Yeah,
And
we don't usually see this in the NBA.
yeah, this is
Maybe in football you see this, but usually all the undefeated teams lose their streak by maybe the 6th or 7th game at most of the NBA season. This is something we haven't seen in a while, and the Cavs have surpassed their 6-0 start to their 2016 finals winning season.
Yeah, I think the longest winning streak to start off the season was done by the Warriors in 2016 or 17 with around 20-ish wins to start them off, which is incredibly impressive. But props to the Cavaliers for doing all they can with such a, I hate to say, but mid roster right now.
It is. It's not good at all. Nothing. Well, it is good and it's working, and there's a lot of balance, and I think that's what's helping them win these games. But it's more like how this team works together, because there's no Steph Curry, there's no LeBron James on this team. We have Donovan Mitchell leading with only 22.5 points per game. That's not numbers that you'll see from a leader of a team that's 11-0. You know, you have another amazing player like Jared Allen as a center who's averaging nearly 12 rebounds per game. We have Darius Garland, a phenomenal all-star point guard, averaging 6.6 assists per game. I think what's really just special about this team is how balanced it is. You have 6 guys averaging over 10 points per game. I think once they play, they have had a pretty difficult roster so far, but it's not been too rough. But I think once they encounter teams like the Warriors or the Suns or the Celtics, their weaknesses will show. But so far they're playing amazing.
I mean, the Cavaliers actually did play the Warriors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they played on Friday, November 8th, and they did beat them by 20 points.
I guess I'm a little mad at the Warriors right now, since they beat my Celtics. But
yeah, but they also did play the Lakers, who have been doing pretty good this season, surprisingly. They have also beat the Knicks by 6 points, which I guess really shouldn't count towards much, because basketball is basically very fourth quarter dependent.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've played some pretty decent teams. They've played really bad ones in the.
Haven't played the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see that. They're playing like a week or something like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's nothing when you see this roster. There's nothing that screams, we're 11-0 and we're undefeated. We're better than a team with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. We're better than a team with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they're the best team in basketball without doubt right now.
Just to back up your claim that you made earlier, Zach, I really like what you said about the team's balance, as Donovan Mitchell is really the only player that's standing out as
paper
an all-star, or like top maybe like 15 player in the league right now.
Yeah,
but everybody else, like Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, even what's his name? Dean Wade, the wrong D Wade, but he's been playing pretty good, surprisingly. Yeah. But they're all like at the same skill level. They all like are very similar in like their true talent and how much they can contribute to a team. And I just think that just increases their chemistry, because you don't have one player that's hogging the ball. You have one primary scorer, but everybody else knows their role and has enough fun playing basketball to be able to build such strong chemistry and have such a good team right now.
Yeah, I think if you're a team on a run like this, you have no one else to blame besides chemistry. Chemistry, you're clicking your Calus's team, you're bringing, that's what's bringing this team to an 11-0 record, and it's probably going to be 12-0 when you're listening to this, because I don't see how this team, is going to lose the next 3 games they play.
Yeah, but to wrap up the Cavaliers, you want to start talking about leader in the West, the Suns, and their amazing player right now, Kevin Durant.
Before we get into that, I just want to make a note. There are 2 teams in the East, the Cavs and the Celtics, who are 8-2, who are over 500. And now, as we move to the Western Conference, the first basically 11 teams in the Western Conference are above 500. Not only does this, add to the absurd disparity of talent between the West and the East. Obviously, both these, the Western and Eastern Conference, have their fair share of injuries. But honestly, this, and we've talked about this, and we've said that this is going to happen. There's a lot more talent. There's a much better teams in the West, but I really, really didn't expect only 2 teams to be over 500 in the East.
Yeah, especially because they are like the Knicks. The Magic are pretty decent in the Pacers as well. I thought they'd be at least over maybe 600 right now, but I guess that really shows how much better the West is than the East. Yeah. Which, we already saw that before. They have the top 5 seeds are all some of the best teams in the league, besides maybe the Warriors, but they could also be arguing for one of the better teams right now. But
before we get into the Suns, I just want to point out how crazy this is. The number 11 seeded Kings, who are 5-4, would be the 3 seed in the East.
Yeah,
that's absurd, right? The Knicks are 4-4, the Kings are 5-4. The Knicks are the 3rd seed, the Kings are the 11th seed.
Especially because
we don't see this.
The Kings are also like a pretty good team.
They are a pretty good team.
And I think it's really unfair how they're the 11th seed while you have the Knicks, who are 500 flat, in the 3rd seed. That is a crazy statistic, and I haven't seen this much partisanship since 2012.
I know, that's a really great point. And I think that every team in the Western Conference is a good enough team to make the playoffs besides the Trailblazers, Pelicans, and Jazz. I even think the Spurs can. I obviously think the Kings, Mavs, Lakers, Rockets, Clippers, Grizzlies, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Warriors, Thunder, and Suns would all completely make the playoffs if they were in the Eastern Conference and if more teams were allowed to make the playoffs. But I just, you never see this. This is already, a weird season. We have the best team, almost the most undefeated wins to start off an NBA season on the East, but we have all the talent, all the skill, and all the consistency of over 500 teams in the West.
Yeah.
But you want to hone in on one Western team that has surprised us, which would be the Phoenix Suns.
Suns and Golden State Warriors.
And Golden State Warriors, yeah. And Thunder, but we know the Thunder are going to be amazing.
Thunder's not a surprise.
But, man, this guy, Kevin Durant, does not age. He has been putting up amazing numbers for being in the, early 30s, something like that?
He's late 30s. He's like 35, about to be 30.
He's 35?
Yeah.
I expected like 33, 34. But this is, I mean, I really don't know if Kevin can, kind of persist this, but I think I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. And I'm not just talking about game in, game out, but I'm talking about seasons. I think he has a lot more talented seasons in him, and we know that he's one of the, probably the best raw scorer in the NBA right now. He's a straight up hooper.
Absolutely.
And that's, proving. His team's 8-1. So is the Thunder. And surprisingly, I didn't expect the Warriors to be 7-2, 3rd in the West right now. Do you have any thoughts on the Lakers, or not the Lakers, the Warriors or the Suns right now?
Well, I just want to continue what you said with Kevin Durant right now.
Yeah.
I just want you to forget the name Kevin Durant right now and guess who this player is. He is averaging 27.6 points per game, 3.4 assists per game, with a 32.9% shot, not from the field, but from 3, with a 55% shot from the field.
You never see that from 3. Shooting like nearly 43% from 3. Usually guys like Curry, what would they do? Maybe 30s, something like that?
Yeah, but, guess his age. Maybe like 29.
I thought he was 32.
Right now, but he is 36 years old.
30.
That is That's
That's
crazy to see.
insane. We're getting to a point in the NBA. You're seeing guys like Kevin Durant. You're seeing guys like Curry, like LeBron. These guys are still dominating the league, and they're entering their late 30s.
Yeah,
definitely. This is just something that we haven't seen ever.
Yeah.
With I think, and it's not gonna stop. With everything that we have now, I think we're gonna, and I'm happy, right? I want to see more production. From these amazing players of kind of my childhood, the stars of the 2010s, and I think that's amazing to see. Do you want to talk about kind of the Warriors right now and what's leading them? Because I know they beat the Celtics, and honestly, I didn't expect the impact that Jonathan Kuminga had on that team. Do you want to talk about kind of their new team, their new roster? Without one of the Splash Brothers, but you still have Steph Curry.
He's primarily the one Splash Brother that everybody cares about, but
that's true.
I thought the team would not be this good with the removal of Klay Thompson. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could argue that Buddy Hield is better than him right now, or at least on the same tier as him.
Buddy Hield's surprising me.
Buddy Hield is playing amazing this season on the Warriors. I mean, who would have thought that a very good shooter and shooting centered player would thrive on the Warriors as a guard?
I know. Who would have thought that?
I would never have thought that.
Never guessed that.
But the Warriors are 7-2 right now, and they've played some pretty good teams.
Yeah.
They did win against the Celtics, but they also did lose to the two second best teams that they were playing in the Clippers and the Cavaliers. So I mean, that could say something, that the Celtics game was a fluke, which I honestly think it was one. But
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, great for them. They are playing phenomenal. But once again, as mentioned last episode, I really don't think they're going to keep this up.
Yeah, I don't think they'll keep it up, but I do think that they will still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even if it's like that play-in seed, because even they'll have like a great record, but they'll just make the play-in seed. I think that's fine, and that's honestly impressive because you knew going into the season that there's not these amazing things to expect with the Warriors season. But kind of to end the update on
Wait.
What?
I do also want to say one thing.
Huh.
I mean, it's going to be about my team, the Nets.
Okay.
They're not doing great this season. Who would have thought? But I do want to say Ben Simmons is playing pretty good this season.
He is.
Comparably
to
his previous seasons. Sure, he's not doing great. He's triple six. I don't want to say that. He's getting 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. And
that's incremental change that you like.
Yeah, he has also just been taking pretty smart shots. I'd like to see him get his confidence up, but he isn't shooting awful because he's only taking layups and dunks right now. But, his playmaking is phenomenal.
But if you need to be taking layups and dunks, that's fine.
Yeah, if you are passing and playing defense as good as Ben Simmons is, he could earn a much better spot on the Nets roster.
And I think he will earn that better spot because the Nets have no roster. They're not a good team.
They have nada.
They were actually seated third in the East a couple of days ago because of how terrible this East is. And honestly, going back to your point, as a former as a former Ben hater, I am pleasantly surprised with his progress and how he's doing. I know he's not in the spotlight, and I think that's a good thing for him. And I think going back to his roots of just taking those easy layups and playmaking to his best ability, extra pass, I think that's all he needs to do, and I think that will really benefit the team. And I think that the Nets do have a good shot right now with what I'm seeing at making the playoffs. They're in a play-in seed. They're the 9th seed right now, but I do think that honestly, they could make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, we can always pray, but Ben Simmons, before his all the media has been making fun of him for his inability to shoot, he was phenomenal.
He was
Rookie of the Year, 17, 8 and 8 type of guy, looking like LeBron James. But this really goes to show that since his confidence is back up, nobody's really talking about him anymore, which is really good. Back to your point, because he is gained his ability to play and not have constant pressure of what other people think about him. And, that is really good for him. And I'm very happy about that, especially because I do like the Nets.
As a former basketball superstar, I think that everybody can relate to this. sports in general and basketball at the NBA, it's a game of confidence. And if you're confident, if you're in a groove, you're going to be making plays, you're going to be making shots, you're going to be winning. I think that's without doubt. And I think all he needed is his confidence. And I think being in kind of a, low expectation net locker room, I think that's good for him. And I think overall that's going to be good for this Brooklyn team coming in the future, I think. But then to move on to some very, very disappointing teams in the East right now, who would have expected a team who had Paul George, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and even Jared McCain, the TikTok superstar, Rookie of the Year? Probably not, because the 76ers are 1-7.
Obviously they are.
Disappointing. I'm beyond disappointed. We finally got Joel Embiid to play because the NBA asked $100,000 so he can play in the NBA. We talked about that. Paul George isn't doing too much for the team. Jared McCain is having a pretty okay rookie season, but this team is just terrible. And I didn't expect this at all.
Guess who the 76ers lost to?
Who did they lose to?
They lost to the Detroit Pistons.
This is the team that lost the most consecutive games in NBA history last season. This is a team that has not developed since then. They're not better, maybe slightly, but no, they're not better. And the 76ers lost to them.
Yeah, the Pistons were led by a guy who I think has made one or maybe no All-Star appearances, Cade Cunningham.
I don't think any.
Playing the entire 76ers roster. I don't know if Embiid was playing that game, but if he was, they would have been facing an MVP, a former most improved player in Paul George, and amazing player in general, and then Tyrese Maxey, an upcoming star.
Tyrese Maxey is a star.
Yeah.
He's an amazing player. And you're not just having Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. It's Paul George.
It is.
It's all these amazing players on paper that should work, but it's not working at all. And if this keeps going on, maybe the Pistons and 76ers will have flipped scripts since last season.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for the Pistons to have a second-round exit and the 76ers to be the worst team in NBA history.
I think there definitely could be, but they have been playing some pretty good teams. Like they did lose the Grizzlies, the Suns, the Lakers.
Yeah.
But they also lost.
Lost to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's not doing great.
They're not doing great.
But they lost to the Raptors and the Pistons, and I think that sums up their entire franchise as a whole.
Obviously, everything that we're saying right now is very premature because most of the teams have played 10 games or less. But without a doubt, I can say that the Cavaliers are looking I think the Cavaliers and the Suns are looking like the best teams in the NBA right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And a close second being the Warriors and the Celtics. And I think that wraps up everything that we have to talk about in this past week. Obviously, we'll get some more content for you guys once more stuff happens and we see some changes in these standings. But thank you for watching.